If you've been catching my series on mixed bus processing, then you might have seen my first one on limiting and my last one on compression. This week, we're going to talk about EQ. If you're curious, stay tuned. Hello everyone, and welcome to Distinct Mastering. My name is Freddie. I'm a mastering engineer, producer, DJ, and president of Sleeping Giant Music. For over 2 decades, I've helped artists grow their careers, and now I'm here to help you with your music production skills. If you like my content, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and the bell notification will keep you up to date. Now let's chat about EQ on the mix bus. Okay, so this is the third part in a 3-part series about mix bus processing. If you missed parts 1 and 2, I will leave you a link up above so you can go back and check those out. In part 1, we talked about why I personally don't use limiting on my mix bus. And I did mention I used to when I was a young producer before I was a mastering engineer. And a lot of people do. If it works well for you, do it. By all means, there's no rules. But for me, it just doesn't work. And I suggest you go back and check out that first one. In the second one, we talked about compression. I'm just trying to get some concepts in your head to start thinking about of why you might be doing these things and how one thing can maybe affect the other. And if you're using compression, whether that be glue or pretty hard compression, you could be squeezing the life out of your track, or you could be altering your transients, and you're not making good decisions in the production or mixing stage if you're doing that. These are my opinions, but like I said, I'm not here to tell you how to produce or mix and master your music. I can only give you my suggestions and what works for me. So this week, we're going to talk about EQ on the mix bus. Let's preface by saying what people do with mix bus processing. A lot of people like to slap on their chain or their master chain, which might contain an EQ and a saturation plugin, and then compression and a limiter or whatever combination they got. You know, that may work, but music is not a one-size-fits-all approach. And once again, it may work for you, but it just doesn't work for me. I've gotten a lot better mixes by just mixing with nothing on the master bus, maybe just a spectrum analyzer. And then I said in part 1 that I would put a limiter on just to get some loudness and check things at the end of my mix, or maybe to export a bounce, but I'm not using it while I'm working. So let's get into the EQ part. If you're slapping on an EQ, why? And maybe you're putting on a big high shelf. Maybe you're putting on a big low shelf boost so you can get some more bass. But concepts are important. And if you're doing that and you're working on something like a kick drum or a bass drum, let's say you got a big low shelf on your low end, boosting your low end, 150 hertz and down or 200 hertz and down. Now you've got this nice boomy low end, but you've thrown off the balance of the overall spectrum. So if I'm working on the kick, I might not be giving that kick drum enough punch because it's already happening at the mix bus stage. Or if I'm working on, say, my top end or my percussion and hi-hats, I might be boosting those a little too much to overcompensate for that big boost you've got on the low end with that low shelf. You always need to remember that one thing affects the other when it comes to mixing. If you touch this knob and you touch this frequency at this track, it's going to affect something else, at least the way your ears perceive it. So you need to remember that. So if you've got this mix bus processing going on, which starts with your EQ and then starts with your compression and then ends with your limiter, you're basically altering the sound as it's coming out of your speakers. But the minute you turn all of that off, now your mix is back to where it used to be. And you've made all of your decisions with just that one mix bus processor that you didn't really consider. Think about that for a second. Let that soak in. The next time you do a mix, I suggest you try it without any mix bus processing, and then shoot me a comment down below and let me know how it worked out for you. Mind you, it's okay to put an EQ or a compressor or a limiter on your mix bus when you're done with your mix. Maybe you want to put an EQ and just boost the high end a little bit. Maybe you got your mix where it's as best as you can get it, but you just need a little more sparkle. Personally, when I'm mixing, I like to get my mix as best as it can sound before doing any mix bus processing. And honestly, I don't really do much mix bus processing these days. The only thing I'll do is slap a limiter on just to get some loudness to hear the mix at the very end, or maybe just to do a bounce. But then when I get back to working, I turn that thing right back off. Now, if you do want to put an EQ on the mix bus, by all means. And if you want to put a little glue compression or a compressor on the mix bus, by all means. I'm not here to tell you how to mix your music or produce your music. I'm just here to try to give you some concepts to think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. So that's my 3-part series on mix bus processing. I hope that opens up your mind and makes you think about what you might be doing and why you might be doing it. And like I said, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or you give this next mix a try and it works out for you, or it doesn't work out for you, shoot me a comment down below. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and the bell notification will keep you up to date. Once again, my name is Freddie from Distinct Mastering, and have a great day.